Hello, Dolphin fans. Welcome to the end of your bye week. Remember, we are 3-3, and at the current moment, oh man, we are just a spot away from making the playoffs. We are, because remember, of course, there's 7 seeds now in both AFC and NFC playoffs. We currently sit at number 8, which is a game behind the Colts, who are 4-2. Now, the wild card is not the only way the Dolphins can make the playoffs. They are not too far away from the Bills in the AFC East either. Now, as it currently stands in the AFC East, the Bills are 5-2. Now, keep in mind they have not had their bye week, but they are 2 games ahead of the Dolphins. Really, it's not out of the picture. I went over each of the teams that we need to worry about, their schedules, and what I think realistically they could do. And I went over mine. And I went over how many games we would probably need to win realistically to make the playoffs. And I think there is a realistic way we can do it. Now, I'm going to go over the Patriots schedule. I know they're not playing that well, but these are the Pats at the end of the day. So I'm not going to count them out totally. So here is their schedule. It's pretty tough, though. They sit at 2-4 currently. I think realistically at Buffalo, they'll lose. At the New York Jets, they'll win, obviously. But versus Baltimore, they'll lose. At Houston, they'll probably win, I would think. Versus Arizona, loss. At LA Chargers, loss. At LA Rams, loss. At Miami, they would lose. And then versus Buffalo, they would lose. And then versus the Jets, they would win. To me, the way they're playing realistically, I think they would go 5-11. So really, they don't pose too much of a threat for once. But these are the Patriots at the end of the day. But the team that we need to really worry about here are the Bills, who are currently sitting at 5-2. The rest of their schedule is going to be versus New England. Again, I think they can win that. Versus Seattle, I think they'll lose, though. At Arizona, probably win. Versus the Chargers, probably win. At San Francisco, probably lose, actually. Versus Pittsburgh, I think they'd lose. Then at Denver, they would win. At New England, they would win. And then versus Miami. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to say they lose that game and go 10-6. And before I go over a possible tiebreaker here, I'm going to go over the Dolphins schedule, who are 3-3, obviously. Realistically, I think we would lose to both the Rams and the Cardinals, but we would win to the Chargers, Broncos, Jets, and Bengals, probably lose to the Chiefs, but then beat the Patriots. And these are the 2 games we really need to win, the Raiders and then the Bills. For the sake of this video, because we can't really make playoffs at like 8-8, let's say we win those games and go 10-6, which would make us in a 10-6 tiebreaker for the AFC East against the Bills. Unfortunately, the Bills would win the division because of a divisional tiebreaker, literally because of one game. That week 1 game we lost to the Patriots in. To win the division, I think realistically have to hope the Patriots can beat the Bills at least once, and then we can just keep up with them. We would split the series. We don't have to worry about their head-to-head tiebreaker, but the divisional games, because, yeah, Jets are already done with the Bills anyway, and I don't think they stand much of a chance anyway. We would kind of have to hope to win the AFC East that the Patriots can win at least 1 game to the Bills, which is possible, but right now it's not looking likely. So that would be our kind of AFC East odds. But what I'm going to look, what I think is a little more plausible is going to the wild card spot, which right now we got to worry about the Browns, Raiders, and the Colts. The reason I'm not including the Ravens or Steelers is because, let's just be honest, they're definitely making the playoffs. So as for the Browns, they are 5-2 currently. They have the Raiders next. I think realistically they'll win that. Houston probably win. Philadelphia probably win. At Jacksonville win. Tennessee, I think they'd lose. Baltimore, they'd lose. Giants, they'd win. Jets, they'd win. Steelers, they'd lose. And they would go 11-5 realistically. Because I said we would go 10-6, that would mean Browns would have a playoff spot over us. And like I said, Ravens or Steelers will take either 5th spot. That would mean the Browns take the 6th. So it's really down to that 7th seed to me. Now keep in mind, a lot of those games I think the Browns could lose, but in my opinion, they seem like they're going to be fine. So really who we got to worry about now are the Raiders and the Colts. Let's go over the Raiders first. We do actually have the seeding above them at the moment. They're 3-3. The rest of their schedule, I think they'd lose at Cleveland. At the Chargers, they'd win. Versus the Broncos, they'd win. Versus the Chiefs, I know they won last time, but I don't actually think they'll sweep the Chiefs. Atlanta, they're a bit of a tough card, but I think they'll win to the Falcons. Jets, they'd win. The Colts, I think they'd lose. Chargers, I think they'll lose at least one game to the Chargers. And then, like I said, they'd lose to Miami just for the sake of the video, and then win at Denver. So they would go 7-9 in that schedule prediction. Even if they do win to the Dolphins, that would only put them at 7-9, or I'm sorry, 8-8. So really, the team that we need to look at here are the Colts. And they are 4-2 currently, and it's looking good for them, but the rest of their schedule is very, very, very tough. So the Colts at Detroit, I think they'll probably win that, but that's not a pushover. Versus Baltimore, they'd lose probably. At Tennessee, I think they'd lose. Versus Green Bay, they'd lose. Versus Tennessee, I think they can split against the Titans. At Houston, they'd lose. I think they're going to split against the Texans as well. At the Raiders, I think they'd win. Then, the other Houston game, they'd win. At Pittsburgh, I think they'd lose. And then I know they lost to the Jags last time, but I think they'll win again. That would put them at 8-8. Now, none of these games have any type of implication on this is just for the sake of the Dolphins winning. It looks like currently the Colts might actually go 8-8. So even if we lose that Raiders game, I think that we would be 9-7 and go over the Colts in the 7th seed. So we could realistically make that 7th spot if we can win at least 9 to 10 games. But we have to win the Raiders and the Bills game, in my opinion. But that is what I think. Let me know what you guys think below. Do you think the Dolphins have a realistic shot at playoffs? It is certainly not over. But let me know what you guys think. And as always, fins up.
Science editor Steve Newman reports on one person already using the brand new system.